Tonight on KVR News, a tragedy inside of a church just outside of San Antonio.
A white supremacy protest takes place on the UT campus.
UT students respond to hatred on campus.
You're watching KVR News, your leader for live, local UT coverage.
Tonight on KVR.
Broadcasting live from the Texas Student Television Studios at the University of Texas. You're watching KVR News at 9, Austin's leader for live local UT coverage. Your news starts right now.
Good evening and welcome back to KVR News for Monday, November 6th. I'm Sally Seo.
And I'm Rolly Hernandez. Thank you for joining us.
A heartbreaking tragedy occurred yesterday morning when a gunman opened fire inside of a church near San Antonio, killing more than 20 people. The attack was made at the First Baptist Church in Sutherland Springs. Among those killed was the 14-year-old daughter of the church's pastor and his wife. Law enforcement officials said the gunman fled in a vehicle after the attack and was killed. He was identified as a white male in his early 20s.
People from all over the world are taking to social media to express their grief after Sunday's devastating mass shooting. President Trump tweeted, "May God be with the people of Sutherland Springs, Texas." Then later at a press conference in Japan said, "I will continue to follow the developments closely. All of America is praying to God to help the wounded and the families of the victims. And we will never, ever leave their side. Ever." A little closer to home, Governor Greg Abbott tweeted, "Our prayers are with all who were harmed by the evil act. Our thanks to law enforcement for their response. More details from DPS soon." 3 hours later, Abbott said that he was on the route to Sutherland Springs to meet with families, as well as local, state, and federal officials, followed by public briefing. At the briefing, Abbott reported that this was the largest mass shooting in Texas state history. Many people from politicians to celebrities have offered their support for the victims' families and are coming together to mourn the lives lost. We here at KVR News are thinking of the people of Sutherland Springs and are offering our condolences to the families of the victims.
On Saturday, UT police removed mass protesters from the main mall. Officers found a group of masked individuals around 12 that morning. The protesters left after UT PD told them to remove their masks and leave. The group was made of about 20 individuals, some of which held lit torches. UT President Gregory Fenves responded to the incident with an email defending UT values. In the message, he said, quote, "We are committed to maintaining an inclusive environment for all who learn, grow, and discover."
Police were high in attendance this past weekend during an anti-fascism protest in downtown Austin. Chelsea Moreno has more on what protesters are calling the start of a movement to drive out the Trump and Pence regime and why counter-protesters say their rallies are senseless.
Anti-fascism proponents, nicknamed Antifas, organized rallies in more than a dozen U.S. cities on Saturday, including right here at Austin City Hall. They were kicking off a plan to end what they're calling a nightmare.
A regime that is denying basic rights and humanity, and even the very health of millions.
The group drew a heavy volume of counter-protesters that more than doubled their numbers. And Austin police officers formed a human wall between the two opponents.
How does it feel to be protected by the same people you want to shoot and kill in the streets?
Antifa groups plan to continue the protests into late November. In a post on their website, they wrote, "If this happens, then the whole political landscape would be dramatically transformed. Every faction within the established power structure would be forced to respond, and all this could lead to a situation in which this fascist regime is driven from office." Recent demonstrations from the group have turned violent, but with more than 160 law enforcement officials there, officers hope to prevent that from happening.
We're just here to make sure that everybody can express their First Amendment right and do so in a safe manner.
Anti-fascist advocates started these protests with the goal of overthrowing the Trump administration. But critics say they have no premise.
They really just say things like Trump's a fascist, he's a racist, he's a bigot, but they don't really say anything to back it up.
The groups will continue their protests across the country this Saturday. Chelsea Moreno, KVR News.
In the past year, violent crimes have doubled on the 40 acres. We went out to the streets to see what students think about the increase in violent and hate crimes.
Yeah, I think intention is the most important part. Like, why were they there? What was their purpose?
I don't feel comfortable knowing that I'm at school with these people on a daily basis, and I think the investigation needs to be more public. The fact that they're looking into it needs to be more public, because right now it just seems like it's kind of brushed under the rug, and this isn't an event that should be brushed under the rug. These people are out here with a purpose. I want their purpose to be known. I want to know why they were here.
That's really sad that we have to still be worried about. Like, we're in 2017 and people still can't seem to accept other people.
If you find yourself conflicted on what pronoun to choose on Canvas, the Senate proposed something that may make it easier. Last Thursday, the Senate of College Councils proposed a resolution that would allow students to add their preferred pronouns on Canvas. Students at UT use Canvas to check grades, find assignments for their classes, and upcoming deadlines. Senate President Austin Reynolds believes that this will allow professors to become more acquainted with students' pronoun preferences before classes and allow students to feel more open to self-expression.
The National Institute of Health awarded UT's chemistry department $2 million to create a device to help those with heart disease. The device will measure stress levels on their heart from the comfort of their home. It will work similar to glucose meters that diabetics use, and patients are instructed to test themselves with the device once every week. The device is still under control experimenting in the lab. However, UT graduate student Nicole Pollock hopes to have the device available within 2 years and on the shelves in 5.
Houston's Holocaust Museum presented UT President Greg Fenves with the 2017 Guardian of the Human Spirit Award. The award was personally important for Fenves, whose father was a Holocaust survivor. Fenves, in his acceptance speech, "We are living through a time when our nation is experiencing acts, even movements, fueled by hatred, racism, anti-Semitism, anti-Muslim, and anti-gay sentiments. This is why we must remember through our stories." Fenves then recalled his father's harrowing story of survival of Auschwitz during World War II and dedicated the award to his father, Stephen Fenves.
This year on the 40 acres, students are taking action. A student petition for free mental health counseling at UT has over 3,300 signatures. A UT student originally made the petition to receive credit for a government class assignment. However, the petition reached over 2,700 signatures within 10 days of the publication online. UT and the University of Houston are the only schools out of the largest top 10 public universities that charge for counseling services. Mental health services charge students a fee for every session, and health insurance is not accepted for these appointments. Claudia Brownson, the director of the Counseling and Mental Health Center, says that getting the funding for free counseling would require approval from many departments and administration at UT.
Multiple emergency agencies in Travis County responded to reports of plane crash on Sunday. However, no plane wreckage was found. The Austin Fire Department received a call about a small plane on fire spiraling to the ground. Rescue agencies searched the wooded area near the intersection of Bee Cave Road and Creek's Edge Park on the ground and in the air, but could not find a crash site. It was later determined by the Lake Travis Fire Department that the plane may have belonged to an aerobatics company near the area and never crashed.
A tragedy occurred on Interstate 35 this Saturday. 4 were wounded after a shooter picked random targets in North Austin, leaving a 7-year-old girl in critical condition. 3 other adults were wounded with non-life-threatening injuries. Authorities say he appeared to be intoxicated at the time of the shooting. The shooter is in custody and no motive has been identified.
A Lyft driver assisted a stabbing victim with life-threatening injuries while picking up another passenger in downtown. The victims rushed to the car and asked for a ride to the hospital after being in a fender bender earlier that day. They helped the man into the vehicle and began driving to the hospital before pulling over and calling 911. Medics arrived to the scene to take the victim to the Del Seton Medical Center. Additional information was not immediately available.
Wow, Sally, I really hope everyone's okay.
Yeah, if I was the Lyft driver, I would be shocked. We'll be right back with more news. Stay tuned. Austinites wait for the release of the iPhone 10.
The Crucible comes to UT.
Austinites wait for the release of the iPhone 10.
The Crucible comes to UT.
Have a news tip or story idea? Call the KVR News Tip Line, 475-8181.
Yesterday, U.S. President Donald Trump began a trip to Asia. So far, President Trump golfed with Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. He spoke to U.S. Air Force service members and to reporters at Yokota Air Base, saying, quote, "No one, no dictator, no regime, and no nation should ever underestimate, ever, American resolve." The president will also travel to South Korea and China to talk with leaders on how to pressure and isolate North Korea. Trump's schedule also includes the Asian Economic Summit in Vietnam and the Philippines, where U.S. trade agreements are expected to be criticized.
U.S. House Minority Leader and California Democrat Nancy Pelosi said on Sunday that the impeachment of President Trump will not be a priority if her party wins the House majority in 2018. Pelosi told CNN that Democrats have a responsibility to unify the nation. Democrat mega donor Tom Steyer recently began his own ad campaign calling for the president's ousting. Former Democratic National Committee Chairwoman Donna Brazile made explosive claims recently in her new book relating to the Clinton campaign. According to Brazile, the Clinton team made a deal with the DNC to give the committee $1.2 million in exchange. The DNC allowed the Clinton campaign to have input in decisions including hiring, spending, and research. Other news stemming from Brazile's memoir include her seeking to have Clinton removed from the Democratic ticket in exchange for then Vice President Joe Biden and New Jersey Senator Cory Booker. Over 100 former senior aides for the Clinton campaign issued an open letter over the weekend saying that they do not recognize the campaign that Brazile portrays in her book.
Austinites lined up outside Barton Creek Square and the Domain this weekend for the iPhone X launch. The iPhone X is the latest Apple product phone. Many Apple fans lined up outside these shopper centers as early as 4 a.m. without pre-ordering. Only a handful of units were available for customers to buy. With the pricing starting at $999, it is also the most expensive phone the company has ever sold. Austin is among one of the 20 big cities in the U.S. where the iPhone X sold out by Sunday morning.
Yeah, the iPhone X I'm just like really excited about because I've had the same phone for a couple years now, and so I'm excited to just get to try the new technology and be like one of those first people who really gets to like experience like what Apple has to offer in like the new technology world and stuff.
Over 500 UT students ran for the water yesterday morning. The students ran with their core government class, bringing the largest amount of student participation. Professors Bethany Albertson and Sean Thurl encouraged their students to participate in the race as a part of a community engagement exercise called Run for the Water. The proceeds of the race goes to giving people in Burundi clean access to water. Many students from the class also volunteered for the run. The race included a 10-mile track, a 5-kilometer track, and a Kid K track for children.
If you love Dairy Queen, we have some bad news. 4 Dairy Queen locations in Texas will close due to bankruptcy filing. Vasari LLC, the business that owns these 24 Texas locations, will also be closing 5 outside of the state, with many stores near the Panhandle. Vasari says that a decline in oil business plays a big part in the reason for filing. Vasari said that the Hurricane Harvey also negatively impacted business at these locations. No need to take your pet to the vet. Austin Animal Centers will be offering free rabies vaccinations for all dogs and cats this upcoming Saturday. From 8 a.m. until noon, owners can bring their vets aged 12 weeks or younger to the Richard Moya Park or Burleson Road to receive. The center asks that all dogs be on a leash and that cats be in carriers secured in a box with a hole.
Shoppers at Zara have started discovering strange notes in the clothing that they have bought. According to customers in Istanbul, the handwritten notes were from Turkish workers who were asking shoppers to help them get the wages that they were owed. The workers in question were employed by a third-party manufacturer that shut down before paying the workers months of work. The notes repeatedly say, "I made this item you are going to buy, but I didn't get paid for it." The parent company of Zara, Inditex, responded by setting up a hardship fund for the workers that would cover the unpaid wages and servants' payments. History was made yesterday as Shalane Flanagan crossed the finish line of the New York City Marathon. Shalane Flanagan is the first American woman in 40 years to win the marathon. The victory became more personal for Flanagan, with the marathon happening just days after a terror attack in New York City. This race reminded Flanagan of her friend Meb Keflezighi, the American male winner of the Boston Marathon the year after the bombing in 2013. When crossing the finish line, she had tears in her eyes while shouting, "That's for Meb." Meb also ran in the race and stated that This would be his last marathon. Flanagan finished with a time of 2 hours, 26 minutes, and 53 seconds, ahead of Mary Keaton from Kenya, who has been the champion for the last 3 years. Shalene Flanagan said after the race that she hopes this win inspires the next generation of women to just be patient.
This past Thursday, Pflugerville Police Department has identified Amalia Aguilera as the infamous flip-flop thief. Back in early October, Aguilera was caught on camera shoplifting over 28 pairs of Nike sandals from the store, Rackroom Shoes. The video depicts Aguilera in a black shirt walking back and forth from box to box, taking sandals and putting them in her bag. Pflugerville Police Department has yet to make an arrest, and a warrant has been issued for Aguilera. Anyone with information is asked to call 512-990-6733. Hey theater fans, the UT Austin Department of Theater and Dance begins production of The Crucible, Arthur Miller's classic play. We take you inside the Oscar G. Brockett Theater on campus to see the 244-seat house. Only the house lights are up and the soundboard is unmanned, but a full cast and crew will bring the Salem witch trials to life from November 8th through 19th. This place is a piece of art and well-developed characters and a beautiful set design.
A vacation turned into a tragedy for McKinney, Texas family visiting Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. Twin sisters Barbara Thomas and Beverly Skripski were walking along the beach when a killer wave swept them into the ocean where they drowned. This has not been the first incident of this so-called rogue waves. Due to multiple tourist deaths in the area, the U.S. Embassy in Mexico issued a warning about potentially deadly conditions on beaches that are not clearly marked. The two sisters were known to be full of love and life. Thomas's husband, Steve, hopes their story will help save someone's life. Mark your calendars, Longhorns and barbecue lovers. Franklin's Barbecue will be reopening its doors next week. The restaurant was closed for nearly 2 months due to a fire that destroyed the smokehouse in the restaurant. Restaurant owner Aaron Franklin says that they will be operating with limited operations next week. He expects to be firing on all cylinders by mid-December.
Wow, I really hope to try it when it reopens. I mean, the line's always crazy.
Yeah, hopefully we won't be waiting out in the cold.
Well, all right, let's see what Marco has for us in the Weather Center. Marco?
Thanks, Sally and Broly. I'm honestly excited since we'll be experiencing another cold front this week, so stay tuned. I'll tell you how chilly it's going to get.
Have a news tip or story idea? Call the KVR News tip line, 475-8181.
Welcome back to KVR News. Austin experienced warm temperatures today at 85 degrees as the high. Tonight, expect some patchy fog with temperatures decreasing to 68. Tomorrow will be another hot one with partly sunny skies and a high of 84 and a low at 53 degrees, with a 30% chance of rain Tuesday night. There will be wind gusts of 10 to 15 miles per hour as we expect a cold front to come through Tuesday. Prepare for an extreme change in weather we've been seeing. Wednesday will be cloudy and showers are likely to occur with a 60% chance of precipitation and a high temperature of 57 degrees and a low at 47, with wind gusts at 10 to 15 miles per hour. But on Thursday, the rain will stop. There will be mostly sunny skies with a high of near 62 degrees and a low around 47 degrees. Friday will be mostly sunny with a high near 69 and lows around 54. And if you're heading off this weekend, prepare for some possible rain. On Saturday, there will be mostly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of showers and high near 73 degrees and lows around 58. Sunday will be partly cloudy with a 40% chance of rain and high temperatures near 73 degrees and a low around 55 degrees.
Thanks, Marco. We'll be right back with sports.
You're watching KVR News at 9. Your campus, your news.
Welcome back to KVR News. It's time to talk Longhorn sports.
I'm TSTV Sports' Bailey Abramowitz. After beating the winless Baylor Bears in Waco 2 weeks ago, the Longhorns headed to Fort Worth on Saturday to play the 8th-ranked team in the country, the TCU Horned Frogs. Let's go to Carter Stadium for the highlights. The Horned Frogs looking to make their 4th straight victory over Texas. In the first quarter, Kyle Hicks has a 1-yard touchdown run, starting off TCU 7-0. And in the second quarter, once again to Kyle Hicks, a 14-yard run for another touchdown, and TCU is up 17-0. Shane Buechele hoping to get a touchdown soon, A 37-yard pass to Lil Jordan Humphrey, his first big play of the game, and the next play, 33-yard pass to Colin Johnson for a touchdown, 17-7, TCU still in the lead. And in the fourth quarter, Darius Anderson has a 31-yard touchdown run, ending the game 24-7, TCU with the lead. As Texas readies for the Jayhawks this week, men and women's basketball both get their season started this weekend.
Thanks, Bailey. Now let's head over to Claudia to see what's new in Hollywood. Claudia?
Thanks, Sally. Coming up, we fall in love with Tom Hanks and Matthew McConaughey all over again. We'll be right back with the latest in your entertainment news.
You're watching KVR News at 9. Your campus, your news. You're watching KVR News at 9. Your campus, your news.
Welcome back to KVR News. All right. For his 48th birthday, Texas native and UT alumni Matthew McConaughey gave back with 4,500 free turkeys. He and 250 volunteers hand-delivered the turkeys to residents of Lawrenceburg, Kentucky, as part of the Wild Turkey Initiative. McConaughey is not a stranger to charity work. He often gives back through his charity, the Just Keep Living Foundation. As for this Thanksgiving surprise, he said the goal was to put some smiles on some faces, and we here at KVR think he did. Netflix has officially said goodbye to Kevin Spacey. Earlier this week, Netflix and Media Rights Capital sent executives to the set of House of Cards following allegations aimed towards Spacey by Star Trek Discovery's Anthony Rapp. Netflix will continue to work with MRC during the hiatus and have decided they will not be moving forward with the release of the film Gore, which was produced by and starred Kevin Spacey. Following the announcement of the investigation, the two companies announced production on the sixth and final season of House of Cards would be suspended. Tom Hanks is making our hearts swoon after he helped a man propose to his wife. The Oscar winner attended the Texas Book Festival here in Austin while he promoted his new book, Short Stories, Uncommon Type, Some Stories. While answering questions, Hanks said Ryan McFarlane had a question for Nikki Young, then said, "Nikki, will you marry me?" After McFarlane got on one knee and he finished the proposal. Hanks is well known for his acts of kindness.
Thanks, Claudia, and thank you for tuning in.
Make sure to follow us for news updates throughout the week. You can follow us on Twitter at KVR News and like us on Facebook. I'm Rolly Hernandez.
And I'm Sally Seo. Stay tuned for College Press Box up next on Texas Student Television. Have a great week.